You know, this is another episode of the Reimagine You Lab Podcast. I am your host, MG. And I am always glad that you are attentive and tuning in. You know, we are always talking about change. You know, in the lab, we go in. I'm always bringing somebody special that's going to be talking about how they did it, how they help you do it, why you should be encouraged to do it as quickly as possible, because most people say I should have did this so much sooner. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. And before I introduce my guest, who you guys are just going to be blown away by, I want to make sure that you are doing all those things that are so key. One, make sure you got all your distractions out of the way, because I don't want you to miss any of this, and you don't want to miss any of it either. Make sure that if you have not already, hit the subscribe button, and make sure you're ready to share this when it's over, because it's going to be some jewels. You know how this goes. We do this every Friday. All right. So now that we got all our housekeeping out the way, y'all ready to jump in? I'm always ready to jump in. The lab is where the magic happens. All right. So today I have with me the one, the only Marshaun Olaniyan. Girl, did I do that right? Marshaun. Oh, make sure to help MG out today. We talked about this already, and here I go.
It's Marshaun Olaniyan.
Olaniyo. There we go. We got it. Well, Marshaun is in the lab today. And now Marshaun, I already told her that and you guys know how I do. I'm like, I'm going to go beyond the bio, because I just don't do that like that. I like to give each guest the opportunity to share with us who they are, what they do, because nobody does it like them. So Marshaun, this is your cue, boo. Go ahead, tell them.
MG, first of all, let me just say thank you so much for having me here. Thank you so much for everybody that's watching, as well as those who are going to watch it from someone sharing this episode with you. So as MG just mentioned, I am Marshaun Olaniyan. I am the founder of Marshaun Olaniyan Consulting, where I specifically help Black Christian women to three things. The first one is to increase their self-esteem, boost their self-confidence, as well as speak softer to themselves. A lot of times we go down the road of speaking mean to ourselves, especially when nobody else is around us. And so I give the women that I work with, my clients, I give them the tips, tools, and strategies to be able to go beyond, as MG just mentioned, go beyond beating themselves up, so they can start loving themselves, not only in private but also in public. And so as much as we want to be in loving romantic relationships, I take a step back and start with the relationship that you have with yourself, because most of the time we don't have a great relationship with ourselves. And when you don't have a great relationship with yourself, there's no way that you can have a great relationship with another person, a significant other. And so not only do we talk about romantic relationships, but we focus on you first. You are the primary, you are the priority, you are the one who we have to start with.
No, I love that. I love that. You know what? And most of the time we don't. We say we do, or we want to. We say that we want to, but all the time we don't necessarily prioritize ourselves. So I love that you do that. I love that you do that work. And that's so cute, Marshaun. I love that your number 3, that you teach people to speak softer to themselves.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's funny that you mentioned that, MG, because I know a lot of people like self-esteem, self-confidence. Everybody says that, but that soft piece, and specifically to Black women, that soft piece is something that what I'm finding is that a lot of Black women equate that to being weak, because of the way that we've grown up and we've always had to be strong. And so it's really not, it's not about you showing up and being weak. It really is you just leaning into yourself, loving yourself more, speaking kinder to yourself. So it goes deeper than just looking at yourself as a weak woman, because the truth of the matter is, if you Black in this country, you're not weak at all.
Right. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And you know what? And I think sometimes I think language is so important in the way that we use it. And I really love something you didn't say this, but you did tell me before we jumped on that, because I asked you, I said, Marshaun, tell me how you present yourself and your services and what you do. And you told me that you are a shift relationship strategist.
Yeah.
And like it's a strategy in order, it takes strategy in order for us, the way that we communicate with our, just like we communicate with other people, the way that we communicate with ourselves. And it's so important, the language that we use to be able to do that. And what do words mean to us, what they, how they have been presented to us, and what we think they mean, and being able to shift that. And speaking softly to ourselves is one of those things that sometimes I'm sure needs a shift. So
yes. I'll simply say yes, yes, yes. So that those are my three pillars that I definitely focus on. Of course, there's always more, because you can't coach somebody with just one area of their life. However, that is the primary focus. And so,
yeah.
again, thank you so much for having me here, MG. I'm super excited for the conversation, and I'm all yours.
Yay! Yeah. No, I'm so glad about that. So one of the things that I always ask anybody as they come into the lab, because in the lab, and the reason I call it a lab is because, you know, we test ideas, you know, we play with things, we hear about, we are looking at, we've got a hypothesis, we have a way that we think about something. Does that work? Is it working now? Is there something that I need to change? And so, you know, I like having you here, and you deal with me. You deal with ladies like me. You deal with ladies that are completely different than me. But there's been a lot of conversations. I was reading an article a little earlier this morning around even all of the, recently in the news, there has been all of the press around Dr. Gay at Harvard, and her recently resigning because of all of the pushback and everything that has come at her. She didn't get no love. You know, there was no love that she got or support from the organization that says that it supports her. Now, I'm not going to go political right now, but I imagine that there's some talking that Dr. Gay has had to do to herself, with herself. You know, when you come up against situations where it seems like you fighting alone, or it seems like you are by yourself, where is my defense? Where's my peeps at? Sometimes you find yourself where, hey, you do have to speak to yourself, and you have to be able to confidently, you know, show up. You have to be able to provide yourself with that inner strength that you need. So you have to be able to show up confidently. You've got to be able to do those things. So talk us through a little bit about, like, even for you, for your, or for any of your clients, even how does that process get started?
So the first place that we start, and the first place that I also started, was becoming more aware of what's actually happening. The things that you are doing, the things that you are saying, like how are you showing up? Excuse me. So becoming that awareness, you have to become aware of what's actually happening before you can change anything. That's literally the first place that we start, is giving them, or I should say, pointing out things that help them become aware of who they are. And again, I'll come back to me. One of the things that I struggle with was low self-esteem, specifically for my skin color. That was the thing that I got teased about for many a year growing up. And it took a hit on my self-esteem. It also had me believing that I was not worthy enough for the guy to choose me, right? So I was kind of just latching on to anybody that was showing me attention, which is not the way, it's not the best way to choose a partner, right? And so it was because I felt like if I don't latch onto this person, then who's gonna like me? Who's gonna choose me next instead of me choosing me, right? And so I luckily, and I say prayerfully, thankfully, I didn't go down the road of anything big and destructive as far as even having a child with someone. But I really had to take a solid look in the mirror and literally come to myself and say, Marshaun, do you love you? Do you like you? Can you be in the room with yourself? And so not only the awareness, right? But the second piece is asking yourself those tougher questions and sitting with the feelings that come up from the tougher questions that you ask yourself. And if you can't do it, I don't know if we're going to go here, but if you can't do it, get with someone like a coach, somebody that you need to pay to help draw that stuff out.
Yeah.
And it could be a therapist as well. I have a lot of clients that I work with. I'm the coach, but they also have a therapist, right? Because I'm helping them with the future to move forward.
Yeah.
And the therapist is trying to help them with the awareness piece.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So becoming aware and the tough questions.
Yeah. No, you know what? That's good stuff. That awareness is critical. You know, I think about the clients that I work with, and it is, hey, it's a real thing. And here's the thing. It is so important that you get the help that you need and don't let other people talk you out of it. And sometimes it is not just having a social conversation with your girlfriends. I have a lot of social conversations with my girlfriends about things that I might need to work on and work through, but I'm not going to get the full help that I need in that social conversation with my girlfriends. You do need coaches. You do need people or therapists, like you suggested, to help you work through those things, because there's a process for that. You don't get there in a one social conversation. It's not going to help you the way that you want it to. It's not going to stick.
But okay, 1,000% agree. But I want to add on to specifically when it comes to having the conversation with your girlfriends.
Yeah.
It's all fine and dandy to go and vent to your girlfriends. The issue that I have and even run across is your girlfriend is there for you. And most of the time, they're not holding you to the fire. They're not pointing out the things that you did, that you said that you were wrong on, because they are your ride or die, right?
Yeah.
And so we have a tendency to always put the blame on the other person. The other person in this case is the significant other, right? But that finger hardly ever points here. And so as much as I love the venting to the girlfriends, they can't pull you or take you.
They're not objective. They're not objective.
Not at all. So if you want to shift and change your life, specifically since this is a new year,
yes,
you got to do something different in order to get different results.
Come on, Marshaun.
Stay talking to your girlfriends if you want to up level your life, if you want to up level your relationship with your significant other, and or up level the relationship even with yourself, because the very people that are in our lives usually align where we are at.
Right.
If you want to go above that, you have to pay somebody usually who has the information, who has the knowledge that's going to help you get to the next level. And so many people are either afraid to pay the money because they hear the price, but we pay for what we want to pay for. And I'm going to say this next statement, but I'm not knocking in any way. I just want to correlate the statement. Those Beyonce tickets, when they came,
right,
that concert was sold out, and those tickets were not cheap. So what is my point? My point is you will spend $1,200, $1,500, whatever, for a few hours of your life, when you can spend the same amount or a little bit more, whatever, a little bit less, depending on who you're working with, for a few months of your life to change your life. And most people will choose the experience versus the change on their life, when they're not realizing, again, not knocking B in any way.
Right.
Because she put in her time, she honed her craft. Awesome. But now how are you going to hone your own craft? What's taking you to the next level?
Right. Check this out though. Beyonce got a coach.
Yeah.
Beyonce invested her money in a coach.
Yes.
And she and I would venture to say that she probably had more than one on her way to where she's at. And most people that you see on levels like hers, they had coaches that helped them get there.
Oh my
So
God.
you are not going to get there by yourself or in your social group with your girlfriends, especially if all of them are, you know how they used to say there was you are the average of the 5 people that you hang around the most.
Yes.
So if you the average of the 5 people that you hang around the most, if ain't none of them Beyonce, chances are you might not be at that level. So sometimes you really do. I mean, and I don't want to be, I mean, my friend, hey, y'all know me. If y'all tuning into this podcast, y'all know how I roll and y'all know how I flex. And it's not about flexing. It's really about, if you want to reimagine you, it's going to require you investing in you. It's putting your money where your mouth is. It's putting your time, because a lot of it does cost you, but it's also making the time to do it. It's putting in the work, because you're gonna meet with a coach, and the coach is gonna say, hey, let's have a conversation about this or that. They're gonna listen to you. They're gonna hold you accountable to the things that you're gonna have to go back and do.
Yes.
And they
It's all
can't
about
do
that work. It's that work. Yeah. Listen, you just said it. I don't care how many coaches you talk to. They can't do the work for you, baby.
They can.
You got to do it. You got to do it. And I'm so glad that you said that about Beyonce specifically, because I usually take it to the athletes, but the point is essentially the same. Everybody that's at that level and beyond has a coach.
Right. Yeah, they do.
Awesome.
And the coaches got coaches. Like,
Yes.
nobody's getting anywhere that they really wanted to go by themselves. It just doesn't happen that way. I remember I was at work for a major greeting card retailer. And I remember our president, our president coming in to our sales organization. And I remember him coming in. Essentially, we had a town hall. That's what they called it at the time. We had a town hall. It's 3,000 of us in the town hall, and he was essentially telling us that, because the business at the time, we started seeing e-cards was starting to come up. People were starting to use the internet and going and shopping online and all this kind of stuff. And essentially, he was saying, "Hey, sales organization, you guys are doing stellar. Things are moving, but times are changing. They're evolving, And so we were making you aware that there's going to be some changes to the way that the business model is going to run and the organization is going to change. And here's what's happening. Hey, do great, continue to do great. But if you find yourself in the bottom 10%, we're going to go ahead and we're going to move that part of the organization away. And what's also going to happen is attrition is going to show up, which just means that, hey, we're going to let the bottom 10% of the people go. And that 90% that's still here, you're going to capture that additional work. The territories is going to change. And guess what? We all walked out of the building happy and smiling. And then 3 months after that, we started seeing people within the organization that fell in that bottom 10%, crying, walking out with boxes with they desk and the pictures of their kids in it. And it was like, and I was like, wait a minute. What did Steve tell us in that meeting? And I remember my boss at the time, there were a few of us that he shared. He was like, Steve was our VP at the time. He told us, my boss told us, well, Steve has an executive coach. And so when they come and have to deliver those kind of messages, they get coached on how to do that. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And I was like, well, he must have a doggone good coach, because I was like, we didn't even know what was happening. I was like, he did it so smooth and so confident, and people were okay with the message that was being delivered. I was like, I want a coach. That was back in what was that? That was 1999. That was in 1999 that I learned about what the coaching profession was all about. And executives at that time had them. Mm-hmm. The big dogs, they had them. Now you see, there's coaches for, pretty much everything now. And if you need somebody to help you get to where you want to go, you better invest in a coach. And I'm telling you, they'll help you get where you need to go. They'll help you deliver messages you don't know how to deliver in ways you don't know, where the people you talking to is like, what?
Yeah. And it's coaches in every industry.
Every industry.
Every industry. Like I have a few coaches right now. So it's
Yeah.
coaches in every industry and they're not all in the same industry. They're helping me in different areas of my life. And so
Yeah.
listen, we all need them because the truth of the matter is none of us have all of the not
Tools.
only information, but we don't have all the answers. And because
No.
none of us are geniuses at every facet of our
Mm.
life. We
Yeah.
are falling short in some area of our life. And so guess what? There's somebody out there that has the answer that you're looking for.
Yeah.
You might have to pay for it though.
Yeah. Let them help you. But and here's the other part of that too. I believe that if when you make the investment, and I know y'all listening in and y'all like y'all going hard on the coaches. Y'all telling us to invest in coaches, and we are. But here's the thing: when you make that investment in yourself, what it does is it also increases the return on your investment. So
Mhm.
that means that you'll be able to make more. You'll be able to, because you'll perform better in whatever area it is in your life, and you'll probably be able to increase your income, whether it's in your business, whether it's in your career, whether it's in the way that you invest,
Mhm.
whatever that thing is. Because if you're not confident, for example, we're going to use Marshaun and the work that she does. So if she's helping you to increase your self-esteem and boost your confidence, speak softly to yourself so that you can, you change some things on the inside,
Mhm.
your mindset, then you show up differently. You show up differently in your workplace. You show up different in your business and the way you serve your clients. And
Mhm.
then what happens is the byproduct of that is that, hey, you become more or better at your leadership material and potential inside of your workplace.
Yes.
Your clients that you serve, hey, they're probably going to be referring you to more and more people because of the work that you're doing with them. Then they're like, hey, you need this girl that's helping me. Hey, you need to get her because she can help you. So I'm just saying that it helps you. The benefit of it enables you to be able to take care of what it costs you to have the person.
Yeah. Love it. I
Yeah.
totally agree. Totally agree. Yes.
Yeah. Let's get into the change conversation because I'm telling, I love coaches. I think they're important. So tell me, I always ask the question, what was the biggest change that changed you,
Mhm.
Marshaun?
The biggest change that changed me was
Mhm.
literally believing in me. Believing in
Mm.
me, believing in my worth, believing what I bring to the table, what I offer, believing who I am, as well as loving. Like you could add loving to all that stuff as well. It really took me a few decades before I really honed in and owned who the person that you see today, who I am currently today. It took me a few decades to get to this woman, this coach, the confidence that you see. And so I just had to believe in myself. And then, like we talked about, nobody can do your work for you. So
Yeah.
I had to put some action steps in there. Do it scared, do it afraid. So specifically for me, I was talking about the relationship. And so when I I literally started reading books and taking a lot of digital courses because at the time I didn't know anything about an actual coach. So it took me 15 years to learn all the stuff. I say 15, but it's 15 and counting, really.
Okay.
Probably
Right.
about 20, 25 at this point. But the
Yeah.
point is this. Not only was I learning and taking in all this information, you can't just keep taking in information. It was what I was going to do with the information that I was taking in.
Assimilate. Hmm.
Then I had to start doing this stuff. So whatever I would read in the book, because for me it was about trying to figure out why these relationships was not going to the next level, and I had to figure out that I was the only common denominator in all those relationships that wasn't working out. So I had to do something different to get different results. So this
Hmm.
were the books and the digital courses and speaking to some of my exes. I went to some of them and asked why we didn't get to the next level. So I was collecting a lot of data,
Hmm.
and then based off of the books, the digital courses, the conversations I had with my exes, as well as just people that I saw that were in better situations that I was in, I would have conversations with them and I would take that information and then I would start to apply it. So the next date, because I didn't go back to my exes, they're exes for a reason, in my opinion. So the next date, I would apply one of the things and I was like, oh, that's working. or I would implement boundaries more. Because,
Mhm.
when you want somebody, you'll just let them do whatever, thinking that that's going to keep them, but it doesn't at all. So then I had to
Right.
establish boundaries. And so one thing after another was like literally laying a brick wall, one thing after another, in order to get to where I'm at today, where I'm able to say, mm-mm. And I can just see it. I can hear it. I can see it. I'm like, no, that's not going to work out for me. And I'm confident enough to say that, because prior to, right, me not
Yeah.
believing in myself, me not believing in my worth, as well as not loving myself, just running amok,
Right.
just running amok on me.
Yeah.
And I didn't like that
It's not a
anymore.
good
So,
thing.
yeah, I
Right.
have to take control of my life. That's what they have to do. You got to take control of your life. You have to.
No, no, that's key. That's key. That's key. So all that you took in, and I like how you said that you applied it. And it sounds like you applied it immediately. Had a meeting, talked to them, learn something, go and apply it,
Yes,
test
yes,
the theory.
yes, yes,
That's
yes.
key. So, how did they respond? Those exes that you went to and asked them, like, oh, we didn't get to the next level. What was that? Tell us a little bit about what that process was like. Because I bet that's something that this is a lab moment. We tested something. How did that work?
I have to say, when in the moment of me doing it, I was just trying to figure out what was going on. So it wasn't something that I was thinking, well, I could use this later on in my life to tell a story or to
Yeah.
help somebody out. It had nothing to do with any of that. I was just like, I think I'm a pretty good woman. I got some good morals, good values. I'm kind of running down my own list. And I
Right.
was like, but it's not working out. So they have the answer that I don't. I don't have the answer that they have, because I think I'm pretty good. But
Mhm.
obviously something is missing in me for them. So I had to go get the answer from them, right? And so when we would have the conversation, it was a very casual conversation. It was more just, hey, you know what? I know we're not dating anymore, and I'm actually not asking for us to get back together. But
Mhm. Mhm.
why didn't we get to the next level? Like, what was it in me that you saw or that you can think of? Because sometimes we can't really put our finger on why. But for those of the men that could put their finger on why we didn't go to the next level, I literally
Mhm.
listened without getting angry,
Yeah,
right?
that's
Because I
good.
really wanted to hear what they had to say so I can be better. And
Mhm.
so they had the information. I went and gathered the information. It wasn't a really long, drawn out conversation. We kind of had like small talk, like, what's going on in your life at that moment or whatever. And then we kind of wrapped up the meeting, because it wasn't a date. It was kind of a, hey, how you doing meeting, right? We wrapped
Mhm.
that up. And then I went off on my life. So it wasn't anything big, for at least for me, from my viewpoint. As far as the men, it wasn't anything huge, or it was just kind of like, hey, why didn't we go to the next level? Okay. It was maybe one or two things that each guy told me. And then I made sure that I would work on that when I would go on a date with someone else. So hopefully that answers your question.
No, that totally answers the question. And I think that showed work that you've done. You know what I mean? Like to be able to do that, because or I'm not going to say most of the time, but a lot of times we are, feedback is hard sometimes for us to take.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
so, but I like that you was able to do that. So as you guys are listening in, this is a good one, and this is a good example of what we call feed forward. Like this is, like this is good information that you gonna just sit and just alleviate the feelings, not
Hmm.
get into no feelings about how people respond. You're gonna ask the questions, be objective to what answers or responses that you get from it, but take it back, because you're doing a survey right now. That's what it is. And that's feed forward that you can use for your relationships and things going forward. No, that's good. And that's a strategy.
Love it. Yes, exactly. Feed forward. I love that. I love that. Yes, yes, absolutely. It was, again, it wasn't something that I was like, I'm gonna check this box, check this box. I was just like, this seems like it should be doable. Let me go and do this. Because
Yeah.
all the other stuff wasn't working. So I had to figure out what's working. And so this was the way that I went about it. It works for me. It's worked for a few of my clients. They've gotten, that awareness piece that I was talking about
Yeah.
earlier. They have become more aware how they're showing up, And now we're shifting. So this is
Yeah.
where the shift relationship strategist comes from. We get strategies, we're shifting your mindset, shifting the way that you're showing up. And the relationship is a relationship with yourself, but also the relationship with other people. So all of those things, that's what we got it. Mm.
Marshaun, hey, that's good stuff, girl. Good stuff. Now I know that you've got something. I always hate when it's time to wrap these up because it just feel like we done just got into the good stuff.
Right.
But I know that you've got something that you want to share with those who are listening in today. You want to tell them what it is and how they can get it?
Yes, absolutely. So for those of you ladies out there, it's for ladies, right? So ladies out there that are ready to figure out and become more aware, as we've been talking about, become more aware of why you have yet to create your own extraordinary relationship. I created a free PDF where it talks about the top 5 secrets stopping Black women from creating their own extraordinary relationship. And so, MG, do you want me to put the link here or I'll send it to you later? But otherwise, you will have the link for sure. It is bit.ly/Marshaun O, and that's all lowercase. But yes, so that's exactly what it is. Figure out, right? Become more aware of what's holding you back. And I'm just on a mission to help women that look like me.
Yeah.
Because we have always started in the background. We're not going to go down the road, right? But all of us know about our history. And
Mm-hmm.
so we always have been in fight mode or survive mode.
Yeah.
And when we have people out there that have the answers, right? Coaches, therapists, and specifically shift relationship strategists, me, myself, and then we have the Reimagine strategists. When you have people out there that really want to help you to get to the next level, just take us up on our offers, literally take
Yeah.
us up on our offers so you can be better.
Yeah.
Because if you become better, that not only helps me to say, okay, yes, I helped somebody, but now it's helping our community overall. It's not just about me. It's not just about MG. It's not just about you that is listening. It's about our entire community because you can not only have a beautiful relationship, right? You have to start with the relationship with yourself, but you can have a
Yeah.
relationship, a beautiful relationship with your spouse. But it's that awareness piece that most of us are not aware of. So
Yeah. No,
absolutely.
that's good. I
Okay.
want to make sure that everybody who wants this, first of all, that they get it. Again, we want to make sure that you share it. Like this is something, hey, it's a free PDF. Top 5 secrets stopping Black women from creating extraordinary relationships.
Right.
You guys, this is one of those game changing type things. Get it, share it. Make sure that everybody that you know who needs and wants it or would want it, make sure that they have access to it. Marshaun, it has been a blessing, my dear, having you in the lab today. Thank you so much for coming in. I'm sure we'll see you again.
Okay, perfect.
I've been looking forward to it. You listeners, I love you. I am so glad that you guys always tune in each week. Please keep showing up. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you have not already. We drop a new episode every Friday, and I want to make sure that you don't miss an episode at all. I love you guys. I love you, love you, love you, love you, love you. Marshaun, blessings to you, my dear. I will see you all here next week.